Hello, I am Coach Rachel with Rachel's Financial Coaching. And one of the questions I get asked the most is about credit, how to raise your credit score. So one of the things I want to ask every time someone asks me about raising their credit score, I want to find out why. Like, what is it that's making you ask me about raising your credit score? What is your end goal for that? So, what do you think? Let me be honest with you. I used to be in a lot of debt. In fact, so much so, I actually had an 860 credit score, which might sound like amazing to some people, and other people like, ooh, don't want to do that. No. I was ignorant in a lot of areas in my life, and personal finance was one of them. Why did I want to raise my credit score? That was something that I was told I should be doing so that I can buy a house. But I didn't want to buy a house. In fact, it wasn't even until this year that I really even started to think about buying a house. But I wanted to have that option available, right? Because I knew it wasn't for me then, but I figured in the future it could potentially be. So I was like, okay. I listened to everybody. I listened to everybody in my family and in my work environment, and everyone who is trying to help me, right? I don't think that they're trying to manipulate me. I don't think they were trying to do anything like that. They were trying to help me by telling me that I should do X, Y, and Z to raise my credit score. However, one thing that I've learned through doing all of that is something called best practices. And if you don't know what that means, that basically means if you want something that somebody else, like a result somebody else has, you copy what they're doing. So you see this a lot in movies, I think. In cars, movies, and music. There always comes out and around the same time of very similar things. There's obviously some differences, right? But people always copy off other people. And so what I've learned is that someone who I want to mimic and to have the same results as would be someone who is wealthy. And because I don't want to struggle, right? I grew up, and from what I could see, my grandmother struggled. We never talked about money. That was just my perception, and I have no idea even to this day what her finances actually look like. And that's okay. Once you raise someone, you don't want them giving you money advice. I understand, no problem. So what I learned is that the wealthy, which is considered wealthy, right? You know, the rich people, they don't use credit score and they don't use debt. Like, they just don't do that. And I decided then, when I learned that, I don't want to go down the path of everyone else around me who was not, in my opinion, perceived wealthy. I mean, they might look like they have a lot of money and they have a lot of freedom and they have a lot of things in their life, but they actually don't, right? Like, think about it at your work, okay? And you may be a worker, whatever worker it is, it doesn't matter. There's always a worker, and then there's always an owner, right? No matter what the business is, there's always someone who owns the business. And obviously their lives are different when you compare the two. And I knew when I was younger that I wanted to be an owner. My grandmother managed an apartment complex, and I was like, how cool would it be to own one? Like, not even like the financial side about it, just like, how cool would that be? Because I grew up in one. Anyways. So back to my credit story. I had credit cards. I paid them off. If you want to raise your credit score, there's a great tip, okay? Actually, my uncle told me this. He says to use a credit card for gas only. And then as soon as you get home, pay it off. That's exactly what I did. Okay, I had one credit card, the only company that would give me a credit card. I laughed because I used to get so mad about it. Like, how are you judging me? Like, you don't know anything about me except the fact that all the information I put on there. Like, really? Because I think there should be more to the application process here. Another time we'll get into that. But anyways, so the only credit card that would give me a credit card, right? Which is funny because I hear stories about they just give them out, but I was denied for 3, but whatever. Maybe it was a sign. God was trying to tell me something. I was like, no, they said to do this, so I'm doing this. I was very stubborn. So that's a great tip. So if you want to raise your credit score, that's how you do it. And then you want to diversify your loans here. I have my credit card. I think I had like one credit card and like a store card, like a store credit card. And then I had my motorcycle loan, which is going to be a 3-part video series because it is just a ridiculous story. I laugh about it now, but it was ridiculous then. And my husband is watching me. Like, what is it that's making you ask me about raising your credit score? What is your end goal for that? So, what do you think? I'm Coach Rachel with Rachel's Financial Coaching.